Welcome back to another editorial on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host Terry, and today I gotta talk about Kwame Brown. Now, I was not going to talk about this. I just did a post on the channel, but I wasn't really going to make an episode about it. But honestly, the more it keeps going, I have to say something, because more than anything, I'm a big opponent of misinformation, and misinformation just really, it irks me. And so when I see a bunch of people that are really just misinformed, I'm like, okay, I have to say my piece. Obviously, I'm not the end all be all. I'm not the voice of reason, but I have to say my piece. And again, the Kwame stuff, which I too tuned into at first, I'm like, yeah, it's funny, whatever. But then when I'm seeing weeks later the people that really, I think, believe this at first, and I still believe there's a lot of people gassing him up just on some troll stuff, just on, some internet stuff. But I do think there are people that really believe him. Like, I don't know. And again, that's my guess. I've not personally talked to anybody that's like, yeah, Kwame is spitting facts, but I see people in his chat. Then I see people going to other videos that mention Kwame and, spamming it. And so I'm just like, bro, if we're at a point where Kwame actually has disciples, I just need to say something, because it's utterly ridiculous. Now, this all, if you don't know, stems from All the Smoke podcast. And it was such a simple thing. Steven Jackson made a joke about the trade that they did for Paul Gasol. And then Paul Gasol trade included Marc Gasol's brother and Kwame Brown. And so Steven Jackson made a joke, no, there was only one person in that trade. Basically saying like Kwame Brown, didn't matter because he was trash. And that's what started this. So Kwame responded, and things blew up. And it's funny because things only blew up because it came from All the Smoke. Now, if nobody said anything about Kwame or whatever, then Kwame would have, responded, said what he said. Nobody would have cared. But the fact that it started, I guess, with shots fired on a big podcast, now everybody was interested in his response, because contrary to popular belief, or at least what Kwame has been saying, his YouTube ain't brand new. The YouTube started 2 years ago. And I heard him in one of his videos. This man is always making videos now. I just saw one of his videos. He was like, oh, I've only been doing this a few weeks. No, he's been doing this for 2 years. And it was not really much. Definitely not compared to what it is now. And so it was like, whatever. Like, Kwame has had his voice. He's had this platform. He said what he had to say. Nobody cared what he had to say. But when it popped off with All the Smoke, then all of a sudden, now people look for the response. And again, like I said, I tuned in. It was funny. It was, whatever. It was like, okay, the drama. People love drama. And that is the only reason that it has popped off. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't get it mistaken. That is the only reason. Internet loves being messy. Internet loves drama. So now you're at a point where Kwame, again, like I said, is popping off every single day. And it only has to do with money. There's so many people that I see, again, I don't know if they believe it or not, but they're reproducing this narrative about Kwame being the truth and all this. It's about money. All you have to do is watch, especially when it comes to YouTube. It's really easy. But anywhere else, really, with content creators, you just got to watch what they talk about, what they, I wouldn't say reward, but what they appreciate. And you hear it quickly. Oh, I appreciate, the super chat, send those in. Oh, I appreciate y'all that's, on the Patreon. Whatever. You go to any other thing. I just saw Kwame on somebody's channel. All it is, Cash App me, Patreon support here, blah, blah, blah. You go to his YouTube channel, Cash App, Patreon, all these links to give him money. That's all it really is about. When you go to this about page on his YouTube, that's all it is. Ways to give him money. That's all it's about. And he keeps talking about, again, like how he's grown the channel and how people tune in and people want to hear him because he's real and he's successful. His platform is whatever. Look, you know, obviously his numbers have grown and you got access to money. A lot of people on YouTube have access to money because that's how they make their livelihood. They do Patreon, they do all these different things where people could give them money and they focus in on that. So yes, I mean, people with no channel, or not no channel, but no real following, people with medium followings, they find ways to make money on YouTube. But this idea that he throws out sometimes that he's bigger than all the smoke or he taking all the smoke down or Stephen A is hilarious. But anyway, so what's the grievance? What's the grievance? The grievance, like I said, it started from a simple joke. Now he went, and again, I was with him at the beginning because if you heard me talk, I'm retired the bus label, but I've said, at least in terms of football, but in other sports, bus isn't really on the player. The bus is on the GM or whoever picked them. And the way we use bust is just really misconstrued. I've said that for years. So he came into it with this whole idea that bust is disrespectful, basically. And we know what bust means, like in literal terms, but we also know how we use it as a society. It's very negative. It has a negative connotation. That's what you can say. You know, people can say it's just about the sport, which is fine, but it has a negative connotation. And like I said, it puts the responsibility on the shoulders of the player. And I don't think that's always the case. I think that's a little misleading. So, he had an issue with this bus. He was like, 20 years y'all been talking about me, blah, blah, blah. I've been like the pitcher for bus. Now, at the same time, Kwame was a terrible basketball player. I mean, he was not, in terms of I'm not even saying bust for a number one pick. Just in general, he wasn't a great basketball player. Obviously, we're talking about the NBA. We're not, I hear him talking about, Stephen A, Skip, I seen your stats, or Chris Bouchard, whoever. Like, I seen y'all stat. We not talking about the average dude. You 7 foot, 250 plus. We talking about the NBA. You did not live up to expectations, but also you were just not good at all. Now, people talking about the biggest overall bust and all that. I don't know about that, but he wasn't a good basketball player. That's a factual statement in the NBA. So he talks about having an issue with that and the way they talk about them. And I agree with that. But then at some point he turns this into, well, they tear down black men. Everybody that has something to say against him is tearing down black men. That's how they made their career. And I think that's just silly. I mean, it's just silly. First of all, I mean, you could say Stephen A definitely has most of his popularity and everything because of TV. And obviously, a lot of people are that way and whatever, because in the olden times, you journalists, that was a very prestigious thing. People came up through journalism writing, not being on TV, not being TV personalities. But once TV started to boom, it took on a whole different level. And so, yeah, you could say most of his popularity comes from that. But people like Stephen A and others, like, they worked their way up through the ranks to be in position to get those titles. And so to say that they made their career on tearing down black people is silly. Now, I don't really love sports media. I've been critical of them all the time. And so I could agree there's definitely a level of just over criticism just to get views or just to have something to talk about. But to sit here and try to say that all it is tearing down black men is silly. First of all, the NBA is vast majority black players. So is the NFL. And so when those are the two, or really the two most popular sports in our country, when you're talking about them, more times than not, you're going to be talking about black males. Now, to say that equates to just tearing down black males all the time, I think is obviously overstretching. But the biggest thing with me with Kwame is that he's repeated himself 10,000 times. When I say he got videos he do, and I've been watching. Like I said, I started off, I was really into it. I got sucked into it. But after a while, he was saying the same exact points over and over and over and over again. And it was like everybody, for the most part, has came back and responded. And I wouldn't say everybody was, on the same level of graciousness, but everybody's responded, whether that is Charlemagne, I think, like you would expect, had the most thoughtful response. But, Jack responded a couple times, Matt Barnes, all that. And again, everybody wasn't graceful. Stephen A. responded today. Everybody wasn't graceful, but they responded. They reconceptualized, rechanged what they was talking about, really framed it. Kwame hasn't done that. Kwame's just been saying the same old song over and over again. And again, it started with basketball. I think that was a couple people's points. Like, they was joking, they was clowning, but it was about basketball. It wasn't about Kwame as a person. And Kwame has been extremely personal. And like he said, oh, we just joking. So I thought, let me know when we not joking. Kwame's hurt. People have said that. He's denied it. Whatever. I mean, again, I'm not saying that I'm a doctor or anything. I'm not saying I got a chance to talk with him. But people are making declarations off your actions and what you say. You seem like somebody that's hurt, and I'm not paid by anybody at all to say that. You seem like somebody that's hurt, because if you know that they just joking or whatever, and there's times in all these videos where he's done this, he says something, oh, I was just playing about that, or, I didn't really mean that. So you know what people joking is, but it hurts you. Or you saw opportunity to make money. That's really the only two options. And so you continue to press these people over real life things because they made a joke about you being a bust. Now, Charlemagne got personal. But again, it wasn't even, yes, I think problematic, you could say. You could say this idea of bringing up his family's history to illustrate a point that you don't want to push him too far, implicating he might be dangerous. Now, do we talk like that? Yes, people talk like that, and we know what we mean by it. Like, hey, you might not want to mess with him, or you might not want to make too many jokes about him. Was he really trying to demonize him? I don't think so, but it can be taken that way. It can be used as fuel by other people. And so I think that definitely was a little bit out of line. For the platform Charlemagne has. If you were saying that in personal, conversations, I get it. But for the platform you have, that was a little out of line. He came back. He recognized that. He talked about it. And so I do understand that. And then Steven Jackson said your whole life was dirt. Obviously, he cut that one part out of everything else he said. But yes, he did say it. But again, like I said, everybody wasn't graceful. But to sit here and act like they threw the first stone is silly. Like, they made a joke about a trade, and Kwame blew that thing up. And people liked the response, and he liked their response. So he keeps doing it. And I'm telling you, it ain't nothing but about money. Like, the stuff he's saying is so ridiculous. And I think I'm going to wrap it up because I could go all over the place with this because there's so much content. But at the heart of it, he's trying to make it seem like y'all tear down black men. That's y'all whole career. Y'all should be doing more with your time, things that are productive to build up our people. Instead of tearing them down, y'all could be doing this and that. He names a couple things. But at the end of the day, it's not true. Their career is not built on that. B, they've done a lot. The people he's attacked is crazy to make that point. Jemele Hill, she gave up her career, put it on the line to make the stances she did against, supremacy and oppression and everything else, and came out on the other side and dedicated her work towards empowerment. You talk about Stephen A. Smith, who has put a lot of issues on his platform at ESPN that is purely entertainment and not necessarily known for going there. And again, same stuff Jemele Hill got in trouble for. But he's done that. And then the countless work he does with HBCUs. He's from an HBCU. The countless number of people that he, again, gave platform and gave chances to, the people that he mentored. You're talking about Charlemagne the God, who is way more unapologetic than Stephen A. Smith and has put people on his platform that he don't agree with, but still giving power to voices for people that are black, African American, and otherwise. And the number of things he does with HBCUs and other things, like, are you serious? Like, the people you're attacking are people that have done tangible things to help. What has Kwame Brown done? Kwame Brown is asking for a handout and for money. He talking about centers and he's got nice talking points, but what has he done? He ain't written nothing. He ain't spoke nowhere. He ain't opened nothing. He didn't contribute to nothing. He said he bought his mom a nice house. He got a nice house. He living good. He eating good. He working. He got friends. Fine. That's cool. I get it. You're saying you're not a bust because you have a good life. No one's really saying you don't have a good life. And again, I understand Steven Jackson said your whole life is dirt. We know it was hyperbole, but yes, he said that. But nobody's saying you don't have a good life or you're worthless. Many of them have reframed and said again, it's just about basketball. You weren't good. And so you're attacking them for their ability to support our people. You're attacking them for tearing down black men, all this stuff. And you picked the wrong people to throw stones at, is all I would have to say. And I'm not going to lie. I said to many people, I'm going to stop and I keep listening just to see what he say, if it's going to evolve, and it never does. It never does. And so at this point, I mean, if you really believe in the stuff Kwame is saying, I just think you need to do more research. I mean, and I forgot to say a lot of people don't like these people. Everybody has haters. Everybody has opposition. Charlemagne, a lot of people, he's big. People don't like him. Stephen A., a lot of people don't like him. Not black enough, too black, whatever. You got Matt Barnes, All the Smoke. I don't even like All the Smoke that much. And so you got haters there. Everybody's got haters. And so to have somebody attacking these people, they're galvanizing with it. And like I think Matt Barnes said it, but other people say as well, they don't really care about you. They don't really agree with you. Some people just want to see the drama. I think some people are starting to agree, and that's why I'm talking about it. But at the end of the day, people want to see the drama, and you just got to be better than that. So if you really rocking with Kwame, you think he dropping knowledge, I just think you need to be a little more informed. So that's it for me. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.